Thanks for tuning in to Double Tap here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We've got great stuff coming up, including our holiday gift guide giveaway. In this clip from a recent episode, I go hands-on with the Google Pixel 7, plus we flash back to the Google Pixel event and a friend of the show, Molly Burke. Thanks for tuning in.
You're watching Double Tap TV.
Welcome back, this is Double Tap, and we're talking today about using cameras to take selfies, to use them in the office. We've got lots of things to talk about, and why cameras are important to blind people, or you wouldn't necessarily think it, I know. Mark, before we get into the guided frame feature that's brand new to the Google Pixel 7 lineup, you've got the Pixel 7, is it the 7 or the 7 Pro you've got?
Got the 7. They actually sent me the 7 to play with that I'm holding up in my hand over here. I got obviously the noticeable difference is the fact that it's a smaller device overall than the actual Pixel 7 Pro. And really the camera system on the back is the only other defining feature. If you look at this device visually, that'll help you set it apart. So, you know, I've got it here. What, you want me to talk about it?
I just want to go off piste for a little minute because, you know, I'm intrigued by it, because what is interesting about this guided frame feature is it's only available on the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro, and I don't quite understand why.
I really think it comes down to the internals and the processor that's on board, because you've got a unique chip on this device, which is something that Google is now trying, just like every other manufacturer. I mean, Apple's been doing their own silicon, their own chips, and their own processors for many years now. Microsoft just started about 2 or 3 years ago in variations of their Surface devices. And now Google has their new Tensor chip, which is what powers the actual phone. Now, aesthetically, the phone itself, and I'll switch to my overhead camera here so you can get a better view of the actual device. Nice and sleek along the sides. You've got that brushed aluminum finish on the sides, so you don't get fingerprints there. When you flip to the back, that brushed aluminum kind of continues from the left and right sides over the camera bump. So it's not just this corner of the phone that has a camera bump. It really goes across the device, which gives it nice balance. And the camera system is built into that. So on this device that I'm holding, the Pixel 7 Not Pro, I guess we call it the Unpro, you've got 2 cameras there. You've got a hidden sensor underneath that is probably just, you know, a very depth of field sensor. And you've got a microphone and the flash. On the Pixel 7 Pro, which we can throw some B-roll up over, the difference is that you'll see 3 cameras on the back. That's really where the difference is, other than storage options and, of course, price. Display, edge-to-edge display like you'd expect on any newer device this day. A hole punch on the screen at the top in the middle, so no notch or anything, just a little hole punch for the camera. And the defining factor when it comes to these Pixel devices in general is that they're running a clean version of Android. And when I say a clean version of Android, I'm talking about a version that doesn't have all the bloatware that you'd come to expect by other manufacturers. And it's funny because I was on the phone with a friend the other day and he was talking about how he got the Pixel 7 Pro for his wife. And he was jealous because he uses a Samsung. He loves his Samsung because the screen is beautiful and no one's ever going to come close to the quality of a Samsung screen. But nothing was crashing. He said everything worked beautifully. Whereas on his actual Samsung device, he was saying, yeah, I routinely launch WhatsApp and it crashes. I use this program and it crashes. On this phone, it just worked. So there's an element of design there and development that at the end of the day, you can tell that when there's none of that bloatware on top, it doesn't bog down the system. It doesn't make it prone. So that's, you know, the physicality of the device. And the reason I think at the end of the day that the guided frame feature is not available on any other devices is because it just doesn't have the smarts inside to be able to handle that real-time recognition through that same camera that's going to be taking the video or picture. At the same time, it doesn't have the know-how and the power to control all the AI elements and the hardware at the same time.
And I can't really complain because, you know, I had to go out and buy myself, and I'm holding in my hand, my iPhone 14 Pro, only because I wanted to have a startup chime. And for some reason, Apple can't possibly put a startup chime in any device other than a 14 Pro. It is bizarre. So yeah, I get that. But let's talk a bit more about guided frame, right? Because this is a really interesting feature. And it was actually a surprise to all of us. We were doing the show live with the Google event, you know, behind us on air when we were doing this on the radio with me and Sean. And all of a sudden we hear a screen reader and we're like, hello, what's going on? Both of our ears just immediately tuned to the screen reader talkback. And we realized that we were hearing the voice of Molly Burke describing this new feature.
A G logo
made by Google. Text appears as a person with glasses steps through a doorway and starts down a hall. Pixel 7, guided frame. Stepping outdoors, the person holds out their phone with the screen facing them and shuts their eyes, then follows the phone's commands.
One face. Move your phone slightly left and down. Move your phone slightly right and up. Ready for selfie.
Another person holds out their phone and the view shows the phone screen. A yellow circle highlights the person's face and they pose with a smile.
3, 2, 1. Photo taken. One face.
Oh my God, I love this.
Move your phone right and up. Ready for selfie.
Wait, I want to get
One
my
face.
light.
Sitting on a bed, the person adjusts the phone's angle and the yellow circle finds their face again. The phone takes another photo without the button being pressed.
Photo taken.
This is so cool.
They grin. Now they interview and take a selfie with a black dog on the bed.
My name is Molly Burke. I'm a social media content creator and motivational speaker who happens to be blind. So often, I find accessibility is focused on making sure disabled people can do the bare minimum to get by.
Molly puts on a sweater and pets the dog, then taps on the screen of the Google Pixel phone.
It's important that accessibility not just focus on designing things to make disabled people function, but also empower them to have fun in life again.
Molly Butt there demonstrating the wonderful new feature that is guided frame within the Pixel 7 and also Pixel 7 Pro. I think, though, the best demonstration I have ever heard recently was Mark Aflalo having a go at trying to use TalkBack. Would you like to do this live now for our audience? This is just so funny.
No, I really have no interest in doing it. I can tell you how it's done. Very simple. You turn TalkBack on, which is in the accessibility features of the device, and then it just works. It just works.
It's just as good as that.
You know what? It was embarrassing. I did it on Now with Dave Brown, and I think I even did it for you on the Double Tap podcast.
You did.
And yeah, it was kind of funny me trying to figure out how to use the motions for the first time of actually getting TalkBack on. And once TalkBack was on, trying to figure out the navigation, because obviously just navigating wasn't working for me. So, but that's how you enable it.
I think if you don't have a reason yet to go and subscribe to our Double Tap YouTube channel, I think this is it. I think this is the reason why you should go and subscribe to watch content like this. Sighted Man turns on screen reader has to be my favorite feature of the year so far.
You know, Stephen, there's one other application that we haven't really talked about, and that is, what about when you're on like a conversation on Teams or Zoom, or just using the camera on other things? And there is an app out there that we're going to be talking about on our next segment that really does solve that.
Absolutely. We're going to hear all about Can You See Me? It's an app developed by a blind guy for himself, but also for other blind people as well. We're going to hear the story from Ben Mustle-Rose next on Double Tap.
Can't get enough Double Tap TV? Subscribe to the podcast and get your fill of Double Tap every day. Visit doubletaponair.com and follow us now. Double Tap TV will be right back.
Thanks for tuning into this Double Tap TV video. If you want to get in on our holiday gift guide giveaway, head on over to ami.ca/doubletap or visit doubletaponair.com. Thanks for watching.